Hi, thanks so much for joining us. My name is Natalie from Domum. I have our principal architect, Tim Alatorre, our VP, Jenna, and I have our guest speaker, Peter Twohy, founder and principal architect of Twohy Architects in Maryland. Hi, Peter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Natalie. It's very nice to be here. Thanks for having me. So the name of the firm is Twohy Architects, which is also my last name, Twohy.
Once you actually put on those 3D glasses and you're walking through the space and you're experiencing it through time, which I think is the missing piece there, right? We don't just stare at our houses and magazines, we actually live in them. And so when the virtual reality world, you walk through them and you experience them, it's transformative. And it really does empower, like you're saying, it empowers the homeowner, potential homeowner, person who's going to live in that house to make informed decisions. Two of us, we've been really advocates for VR. This is a great time for architects as well, anybody watching this, to retool. And you have some downtime possibly to mess around with some software and try to figure out your process and what's the workflow to introduce virtual reality into your process.
Yeah, so one of the things right now, I'm about at a half capacity, like what I normally do, I'm doing about half of that. And I'm filling up that time with making that course that you just talked about. Because right now, if you're an architect and you're a little bit slow or a lot slow, I have friends who literally are dead in the water. They have nothing to do. So you have an overabundant amount of time and then a less than abundant amount of money. So what can we do with that circumstance? And surprisingly enough, virtual reality, like upgrading your supercharging even your firm to virtual reality, is one possible thing to do. Let's make the most of this pandemic, for architecture firms across America, the world really, and do what they should have done 5 years ago. And I would be willing to wager a lot of them don't know how close to virtual reality they are.
And I had the opportunity to review the first part of your course, your first class, and it's fantastic. And
thank you.
It's really good, it really is. You'll be releasing that over the next week. When will that become available to architects?
So I meet with Richard, who he's going to be releasing it on his schedule. So I think it's going to be within the next week or two. And then, so the idea is to, I designed a home specifically for this course so that I could give the file. There wouldn't be a client's house. I could give the file to every architect that signs up, because they're going to get the layer systems, how we do it, because one of the keys, and I know you know this, Tim, is creating the computer file such that it translates to the Twinmotion or Lumion file easily, right? And then we try to amplify the emotional content, because people buy on emotion and they back those decisions up with their logic, but they buy on emotion. So one of the things I do every time now is a rendering, because it's really easy. A rendering. You won't do this in California, but we do. Yeah. It's snowing. And so it's Christmas morning. Here's your house Christmas morning. And I have had people literally tear up at that, just seeing their brand new dream home on Christmas morning. It's beautiful, like that. And but that's what they're buying on that emotion. And then the making the virtual reality environments have that emotional impact. That's a huge part of this. And
see, these are trade secrets we're divulging here right now. But a lot of our clients are developers as well. And you're talking about that emotional draw. If you're a developer, these images and things that we're talking about are invaluable for you.
Oh, they couldn't. In a developer in, I would say, 5 years, and it might even be next year, shouldn't use an architect that doesn't have virtual reality, because while they're building, they can be selling with these videos, with the goggles, with the images. All of that is if you're 100% sold out before you're even done with construction, that's the goal, and that's a very achievable goal, because the reason people and everyone knows this. I'm not saying anything that anyone doesn't know. The reason someone doesn't buy is because they're not 100% sure. Well, what would make them 100% sure? Certainly virtual reality does.
Right.
And even the videos do, you get the videos online, here's the new whatever house, and then they come into to Tim's office and Domum. We're gonna put the goggles on and we're gonna see if this works. And if you come in now, you can help choose the color of your kitchen. If you wait a week, it's gonna be it. So use it, this virtual reality is a no-brainer for a developer.
And if someone's interested in taking your course, where can they find it?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Will you post something on Twohy Architects or?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll put something on Facebook. We'll do lots of different things. I'll tell you, you'll get the word out too.
Well, whoever's watching this, follow us, and we'll have a link as well in here to Peter's website, and then we'll update that as the course becomes available.
Perfect.
We'll shoot it out to our social media contacts.
Yeah, and one last thing on the course is that I was talking with Richard Petrie, and he and I agreed that we wanted to make this course available to, during the pandemic. This is a bad time to have an expensive course. So we agreed on $199 so the first class is free, and then there's going to be 3 more that really dissect how to do this. And all 3 are, for the one low price, right, of $199. So I was trying to think of, in a pandemic, how much, if I was low on work, how much could I fork out?
And that really is a steal of a price. If you think about, just the time I invested trying to figure all this stuff out, that you've invested to figure all this stuff out.
Yes.
The learning curve is a lot more than $199.
Yes, exactly. It's a no-brainer. Having said that, I feel good about it because one of the goals, so every year, and I know you do the same thing, is I set goals for Twohy Architects, and sometimes the goals are really simple, like get another guitar. 2 is not nearly enough. We need like 3 guitars. But this year's goal was audacious. I'll admit. It was to get virtual reality to become a buzzword for architectural clients all over our country. And I wrote that down and I felt really good about it. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I wasn't even close to a glimmer of an idea. And so I've been talking to the people at House. I've been talking to Richard and you. And then someone said, well, just make a course. And I thought, yeah, let's do that right now. And then I started, I thought that the course needed you had to give files so people could dissect them on their own. So I had to design a house. So I did that. And it's got a nice waterfall in it. It's a beautiful home. And, it's a little eye candy for the architects too. We like this kind of stuff. And so we could easily dissect it. You could go from one file to the next and see where the correlations are and why I do things I did, and it'll include the camera moves and the depth of field tricks and everything. So anyways, it's good stuff.
Another silver lining of the pandemic is you've had time to do this. So.
Yeah, which I probably wouldn't have otherwise. Which again is was not what I was exactly hoping for. But sometimes like you're not hoping for stuff, but it ends up better than what you were hoping for.
Right. Yep.
So has virtuality helped at all during the pandemic? Like, are you able to work with clients in that way? Or?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Natalie. So for me, I can't get people to come in to my office now. They probably could actually, because it's you walk in, it's a revolving door. You don't have to touch anything, all this kind of stuff. But we don't. We're being safe and smart. So if they have their own goggles, which really means, do they have a teenage son? Because if they have a teenage son, more than likely they have the goggles. I can send them the file, and they can do it in the comfort of their own home. And it's really, really, really helpful. If they don't, I send them the videos, and the videos I make are really good. They still don't make up it's not the same as putting on the goggles, but it's I was going to say good enough to make a decision for smaller things. I guess just one example, I'm working on a interior renovation of this whole house. It's turned out nice. And the stair we were having a little bit of trouble with because of who even cares why. And so I sent a video of the updated design, and they're like, "Oh, we love it, thanks." And the video makes it so easy to make the decision. So those are the kinds of drawings are at least as confusing as they are illuminating. So a drawing never made a decision easy for any client. But a video that does. So do you have one question? I get to ask questions too, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Jenna, that's Paris right behind you?
Oh yeah, that is Paris.
It's
Yeah.
Paris is a magnificent city. To anyone who hasn't been, one of my favorite cities on the planet. Prague, along with it. But the reason is that height. It's not a tall city. What is it? 6 stories, most of it, and then the Eiffel Tower. And it changes it. So.
Well, there is that one skyscraper they've got over on the business side, which they did that and realized that was a mistake pretty quickly.
Got away with it.
Yeah, so there's two high points in Paris.
Yeah. So it's.
I actually been thinking a lot about Paris because they've gone through a lot in the past year, 2 years, and I've visited there twice, and each time I get a different experience, and it's just because I know different streets, but then I also am experiencing new places. And I think right now, during this pandemic, we're all thinking about where's the next place we can actually travel, where can we experience those unknowns again. I think we're all like cooped up so much, and when we talk about virtual reality, it is a virtual reality. You're seeing something that isn't technically there. And one of our developers actually is building his dream home, and his wife is not a 2D person. So she took those goggles and she wanted to sit on the sofa. She wanted to lean against the countertop. She was like, oh yeah, the piano can go here. She turned around and said, oh, the Christmas tree will go here. And just like how you're thinking about how you wake up on Christmas morning, how your kids want to come downstairs, that was the experience she wanted. And we were thankfully able to have her do that probably about a month before all this happened. It was earlier February, late January. And without that experience, she wouldn't have had those little changes that she wanted to make to like a cabinet when she's standing in front of her stove, or those things with the kids, oh, let's add in a bookshelf here because I know they'll use it. Those little things that you don't really think about in a 2D sense, but when you're standing there, that you'll be able to utilize the space better because you're experiencing it that way. So,
and what you're going to find is that, I'm probably, you've already found this, when you go to My House profile, then I'm sure yours is the same. There's a lot of people who write nice recommendations, right? That's nice. But everyone has that. Everyone on House has nice recommendations. The ones that people have written for me are almost embarrassingly nice. And the reason is because I give them all of that security. They know they're making the right decisions. They don't think they're making the right decisions. They know. And if they know they are making the right decisions. And then so their home ends up even better than they were hoping for, right? And they were hoping for something really good, and it's even better. And it's because they know they're making the right decisions. That's what virtual reality does. And and again, if you're spending anything even approaching $1 million, and I know you said $1 million is nothing in California, even at that price, I wouldn't do it without virtual reality. Why would you? I mean, like $1 million is still, that's not chump change anymore. And so and you can, you're in California, call Tim, and you'll walk through your house before you're even done with the drawings. And so to me, that's the one and only way to design a dream home. There's literally no other way to do it anymore. That's an opinion.
That's a great note to end on. There's enough said.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much for coming on today, Peter. Really appreciate your time and sharing with us.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.